In Sophia Liu, the princess of the Liu dynasty's eyes, I was hopelessly in love with her. During senior year, she dove headfirst into her rebellious phase. Getting way too close to Gavin Miller, the bleached blonde wannabe tough guy from school. To match her energy, I bleached my own hair too. Even bought a slick Ducati, and she clung to my back as we tore through the city's streets at night. Double quotes, Liam. Are you copying me on purpose? Gavin snapped one day, cornering me. He was furious that my new look not only stole his spotlight, but also completely captured Sophia's attention. He yelled so loudly it felt like the cheap tiles in the school bathroom might fall off the walls. Sure, we both had bleached hair. But the difference was clear. He rode a beat-up Honda Ruckus worth a few grand, while I was on a $100,000 Ducati. We weren't even in the same league. His whole bad boy image was overshadowed by my so-called imitation, and deep down, he knew it. I know you like Sophia. But she's into me, Gavin pressed, his voice dripping with fake confidence. Don't think you can win her over by stealing my style. She'd never choose you. I was standing at the urinal while he buzzed in my ear like an annoying fly. I zipped up, smirked, and turned to him. It's a free country, every man for himself. But you know what's funny? I paused just long enough. For someone who claims she's into you, I've never once heard her say your name. And if she really was your girl, why haven't you made it Instagram official? The color drained from his face. Gavin was speechless, his cheeks blotchy red. For all his bravado, he didn't dare touch me. He knew I lived with the Lius every day. Sophia and I rode to school together in a black Cadillac Escalade. To the outside world, I was practically part of their family. The Liu family owned this town. They were the richest name in Los Angeles, Gavin. Just some punk barely scraping by in high school. He wouldn't dare risk messing with anyone tied to them. Besides, I'm 6'2" and built solid. Gavin's maybe 5'7", skinny, and would barely register as a speed bump to me. Guys like him prey on the weak, but shrink from a real fight. He'd never face me head-on, just try cheap tricks to look tough. If you hadn't copied me, Sophia and I would already be together, he spat, fists clenched. And honestly, he wasn't entirely wrong. Back when Sophia's rebellious streak first flared up, she had been intrigued by his act. She almost said yes when he asked her out. That's when I made my move. I bleached my hair, bought the bike, and stole the spotlight, pulling her attention back to me. After that, she turned him down flat. If I hadn't stepped in, he probably would have sweet-talked her into some dingy motel room by now. I'll win her back, Gavin said through gritted teeth before storming out of the bathroom. You wish, I muttered to myself with a cold smile. I couldn't wait to see what lame stunt he'd try next. He was predictably another cheap attempt at looking cool. And Sophia. She was young, impressionable, and fascinated by the fake danger of guys like him. Back in class, I found my desk. Surrounded by a group of girls who clearly spent more time on their makeup than on their homework, Sophia and I had always been desk partners. We shared a bond that went deeper than Gavin could ever understand. When I was 12, my dad got seriously ill and my mom walked out on us. Just when I thought we'd hit rock bottom, Mr. Liu appeared. Like a savior, he paid my dad's medical bills, and after my dad passed, he took me in, raising me as his own. Sophia, his only daughter, grew up as the cherished princess in everyone's eyes, and I grew up right by her side. She lived freely, doing whatever she wanted whenever she felt like it. I couldn't. I knew my place. I was the kid Mr. Liu had taken in out of kindness. So, I followed his rules, stayed quiet, and did everything he asked. He never treated me badly. In fact, he invested in me teaching me about business, self-defense, and taking me to events that opened my eyes to the world. I always felt like he was grooming me to be someone important, someone who could protect and support Sophia when the time came. Mr. Liu was always traveling for business, sometimes gone for months. Sophia's mother had passed away during childbirth, so for years, besides the staff, it was usually just me and Sophia in that huge mansion. From the day I moved in, I became her playmate, her confidant, the big brother who made her feel safe. During thunderstorms, she would sneak into my room. With her pillow, when she wanted to skip homework, she'd toss her notebooks at me. When she went out with friends, she dragged me along to carry her bags and pay for everything. Our relationship was unusual, a mix of brother and sister, butler and young mistress, and at the same time, just two kids growing up together, closer than anyone else. To me, she was both an untouchable star in the sky and the bratty little sister I knew inside and out. And now, that little sister had grown bored of her structured life and had become fascinated with the rebellious behavior of high school troublemakers. That's why Gavin thought he stood a chance shot at getting close to her and maybe, just maybe, marrying into the Lou fortune. He had no idea what he was really up against. Instead of going to my seat, I leaned against the window, listening to Sophia and her friends talk. Some were from our class, others weren't, but none of them were exactly honor students. I overheard them saying how cool tattoos were. That's when an idea struck me. After school that evening, I took Sophia to a luxury tattoo parlor downtown. If she wanted to rebel, I would rebel with her. I had her name Sophia tattooed over my heart in an elegant script, surrounded by an intricate design. It screamed devotion. You got my name? Then I have to get yours? Just as I expected, she was convinced I was deeply in love with her. On the spot, she decided to get my name Liam tattooed in the same place above her heart, with a matching design. Just like that, we had a pair of matching tattoos. As we left the shop, her eyes sparkled. She looked up at me with a teasing, almost generous tone and said, "Liam, I know you love me. You've been by my side for so many years, and now you've even bleached your hair and gotten a tattoo for me. Fine, I'll give you a chance. Let's be a couple." She stepped closer, rose on her toes, and wrapped her arms around my neck, her breath warm against my skin. "Since we're boyfriend and girlfriend now, you can kiss me." She was in her rebellious phase, naturally curious about things like that. But honestly, I didn't really want to kiss her. Beautiful, but her spoiled princess attitude, combined with her bad taste in guys, wasn't my type. Still, I slipped an arm around her waist, leaned down, and gave her a deep, lingering kiss. It was the first kiss for both of us. So even when she hung around Gavin, she never let him touch her. I'd been by her side constantly. I knew better than anyone that her first kiss was still hers to give. That night, Sophia posted a picture of our hands intertwined on her Instagram story. The caption was just two heart emojis. Even though it was only a close-up of our hands, it was an obvious announcement. Her friends immediately blew up her DMs. "Saf, what is this? You dating someone? Spill, who is he?" Who else could it be? I bet $5 it's Liam. Back in my room, I scrolled through the replies to her story and couldn't help but smile. Her friends were smarter than they looked. The next day at school, everyone's attitude toward me had completely changed. "Morning, Liam. A congrats." After dinner, I let Sophia ride my Ducati while I sat behind her. Her friends followed us on their bikes, roaring through the city and making a big scene. That was their idea of fun. In this world, money meant status, and within just a couple of weeks, Sophia and I had become the king and queen of the school's delinquent crowd. But honestly, neither of us ever bullied anyone. We weren't really bad kids. Still, Gavin couldn't handle being dethroned as the school's top poser. He finally snapped. One day during break, Gavin cornered Sophia in the hallway. He pulled up his sleeve to reveal a fresh tattoo of her initials on his forearm, a desperate attempt at some grand romantic gesture. Sophia looked at it and wrinkled her nose in disgust. "Mine's better," she said flatly. She tugged her collar to the side, revealing a tattoo just above her heart. It was an intricate floral design, and right in the center was my name, Liam. Those 4 letters were like knives stabbing into Gavin. A tattoo of someone's name left no doubt about its meaning. Gavin's eye twitched. Couldn't believe how fast things had moved. That we were already tattooing each other's names, completely ignoring his crushed expression. Sophia fixed her collar and added proudly, "Liam has my name tattooed on his chest, too. Isn't that cool?" Another dagger. Not only had we done it for each other, but his weak initials couldn't compare. Gavin's face turned beet red. He looked like a fool who had told a joke no one laughed at. But he didn't give up. Sophia was the only heir to the Liu family fortune. Billions were at stake. For Gavin, winning her over wasn't about love, it was his one and only lottery ticket. A few days later, he tried again. After lunch, a bunch of us were hanging out in the main hallway, Sophia among us. Suddenly, loud music blasted from a portable speaker, and Gavin launched into a breakdance routine in the middle of the floor. Must have been practicing because he wasn't half bad. His energy and flashy moves drew a crowd, and students pulled out their phones to record. It was obvious peacocking. Just a stunt to grab Sophia's attention, and it worked. Her eyes followed him, shining with real interest. When he struck a dramatic finishing pose, she clapped first and loudest, cheering harder than anyone. For a moment, Gavin looked triumphant. He even shot me a smug glare across the crowd, as if he had already won her back. But then came the twist. Inspired by his performance, Sophia wanted to show off too. She gave me a quick look, and I knew instantly what she wanted. I pulled out my phone, found a track, and hit play. As the beat filled the hall, Sophia began to dance. Her school uniform had been perfectly tailored, and her graceful body moved with the rhythm, full of life and energy. She was already beautiful, but dancing made her mesmerizing. Everyone stared, guys and girls alike. At first, Gavin didn't mind. He probably thought dancing was their shared interest, his way in. But he wasn't ready for what came next. I jumped in. Sophia and I moved in perfect sync, clearly a routine we had practiced many times. To the crowd, we looked flawless together, like the perfect couple. When the music ended, we turned to each other, high-fived and grinned in triumph. Gavin's face crumbled. All his practice had turned him into nothing more than the opening act for our little show. He clenched his fists so hard his nails dug into his palms, his eyes burning holes through me. If looks could kill, I'd have died 10 times over. 4. A few days after that, things were quiet. But Gavin wasn't finished. One afternoon, Sophia, her friends, and I were cutting through an alley when a group of older, rough-looking guys blocked our path. There were 7 or 8 of them, led by a heavy-set man with a greasy bowl cut. His cheap clothes couldn't hide his thuggish demeanor. Double quotes, well, look what we have here. This one's a real looker, he sneered, his eyes locking onto Sophia. He stepped forward with a sleazy grin. Hey, little lady, why don't you come home with me? I'll take real good care of you. And rubbed his hands together, his expression sickening. Sophia's friends froze, pale with fear, but Sophia stayed composed. She reached for her phone, ready to call for help. Before she could unlock it, Boldcut lunged and slapped it from her hand. Think you're calling someone? Not a chance. He sneered, his eyes scanning the terrified girls. Today, you're all staying right here with us. Treat us well, and maybe we'll make it worth your while. His laugh echoed through the alley, joined by his buddies' crude laughter. Sophia? What do we do? One of the girls whispered, huddling closer. Their tough act was gone, replaced with sheer panic. This wasn't school drama, this was real danger. We were trapped at the mouth of the alley. Gavin and his 2 friends were hiding, listening. Their presence wasn't by accident. Gavin, you're a genius, one of his lackeys whispered with a grin. We get Tiger and his crew to corner them, then we rush in as heroes. Sophia will be so grateful she'll dump Liam and fall right into your arms. Perfect plan. Yes, this entire thing was Gavin's setup. A cheap hero saves the damsel scheme. If it had worked, he might have scored points with Sophia. He made one fatal mistake. He underestimated greed. Moments later, Gavin and his crew charged into the alley, puffing up their chests like saviors. But instead of a staged fight, Gavin caught the back of Tiger's hand across his face. The smack echoed as Gavin stumbled back. Get lost, Tiger growled. Don't interrupt my business. Stunned, Gavin clutched his cheek, desperately signaling to remind Tiger of their deal. Another slap cracked across his face. I said beat it, Tiger roared. Before I change my mind and break your legs? This isn't the plan, Gavin stammered, his voice low. You were just supposed to scare them, and then we smack. A third slap cut him off. Tiger shook his hand loose and grinned. Plans change. These girls are too cute to waste. We'll take them for some fun. Now you three can leave, or we'll leave you broken in this alley. Your choice." Everyone heard it. The truth clicked. Gavin had hired them. "You can't do this, Tiger. I paid you." Gavin shouted, panic stripping away his caution. One of Tiger's men stepped up and kicked Gavin hard in the stomach, dropping him to the ground. The boss said, "Get lost. Scram before you really piss us off." Gavin hadn't counted on Tiger's crew having zero loyalty. They took his money, and now they were taking the girls too. Fear flooded him. Tiger's crew was notoriously violent. He couldn't fight them. Defeated, Gavin and his friends started to retreat. "Gavin, what do we do?" one of his buddies whimpered. If Tiger really took the girls, especially Sophia Lou, the consequences would be catastrophic. I don't know," Gavin stuttered, pale as death. "Those 4 years at USC were like the honeymoon stage of our love." After graduation, Sophia stepped into responsibilities at the Lou Group. 3 years after we came back, we got married. That same year, our son Leo was born.
I moved quickly.
Another 3 years passed, and today Sophia is the CEO of the entire Lou Group. She's a powerhouse in Los Angeles, running 18 public companies. But somewhere along the way, our marriage quietly started to fall apart. Sophia always preferred hiring only female assistants, until one day, I noticed she had brought in a man. His name was Chase Jang, fresh out of college, a classic pretty boy with charm that was hard to ignore. The moment I saw him, I felt a wave of unease. They say the 7-year itch is real. We had been together in some way for almost 20 years. I had never been with anyone else, and she had never been with anyone else either. But when you see the same face every single day, and the world keeps throwing new temptations your way, staying faithful becomes incredibly hard. Few people truly manage it. After Chase arrived, I noticed Sophia's behavior in the bedroom changed. She became more intense, almost every night, sometimes even more than once. I knew exactly why it was guilt mixed with desire.
She was with
me, but I couldn't shake the feeling that her mind was somewhere else. With him, not long after. Went on a business trip with Chase and came back having bought him a $30,000 watch. Soon after, Chase followed me on Instagram. The very first thing on his feed was a picture of that same watch on his wrist. The caption read, "What makes a CEO buy you a $30,000 watch? Love." There were no comments, and I figured he had made the post visible only to me. I stared at my phone and laughed bitterly. I quickly took a screenshot, knowing it wouldn't be there for long. Then I started packing a bag, without hesitation. I walked out of that mansion. When Sophia returned home to find the house empty and all my things gone, she panicked. "Liam, where are you? Pick up the phone. Why are all your things gone? Did you go back to your hometown? Text me back. Don't scare me. Leo and I are waiting for you for dinner." The calls went to voicemail. The texts kept coming, more desperate each time. But I was already far away, driving an SUV through the desert with 2 travel companions, setting up camp under the stars. Our destination was Yosemite. I had served the Lou family for almost 20 years. Through everything, Sophia never once realized a simple truth. I had never told her I loved her. It was real. My whole life with her had been out of gratitude to her. Father, I helped her, guided her, and stood by her side while she took over the family empire. It cost me 2 decades of my life. If she had remained true to our vows, I would have given her the rest of it too. But now, with her endless hunger for something new, she had broken our marriage. Oddly enough, her betrayal felt like my release. Glanced at her texts and sent her just one reply, the screenshot of Chase's Instagram post. And instantly, the flood of frantic messages stopped. $30,000 was nothing compared to the collection of watches I already owned. But that wasn't the point. Why would a female CEO gift her male assistant something so extravagant? The truth was obvious. It reeked of a sugar mama arrangement. Moments later, she sent another text swearing she had never physically cheated, which meant she was admitting to an emotional affair, as if that was any better. I didn't bother replying. That night, I sat around a fire with two young women, Skylar and Maya. Both were fresh out of college, building careers as influencers with millions of TikTok followers for their dance videos. On this trip, they were my travel companions, and I was their photographer and videographer. Honestly, I loved the work. Thanks to the Lou Group stock Sophia's father had given me over the years, I was already wealthy. I didn't need the money. From now on, I was only going to do what I truly wanted. I was done being defined by Sophia Lou. "Liam, have a beer," Skylar called, holding up a bottle. I clinked mine against hers and took a long drink. That night, I crossed a line I cheated. On Sophia twice. The next morning, I woke up lighter than I had in years. What I didn't expect was Sophia arriving by noon in a helicopter. Dust storms swirling over our campsite. She climbed out, holding our 3-year-old son Leo in her arms. Her sudden appearance caught the attention of everyone nearby. Someone whispered, "Wait, isn't that Sophia Lou, the CEO of the Lou Group?" Her face was recognizable from magazines and conferences. She looked right at me and said, "Liam, Leo, and I missed you so much." Immediately playing the family card. "Daddy hug," Leo said in his little voice. I couldn't be upset with him. I took him into my arms, then looked back at her. My tone sharp? "Really, Sophia? Using Leo like this? Do you think that's fair?" She clutched my sleeve, her eyes desperate. "I can't live without you, Liam. I swear I never slept with him. I had no idea he would be so stupid as to taunt you with the watch. I fired him. I even got the watch back." She pulled the $30,000 timepiece from her pocket. Then, as if realizing I'd see it as tainted, threw it to the ground and crushed it under her heel. "You hate it, I know," she said, almost begging. "See, it's gone." But the truth was, I didn't care about Chase. At this point, I just needed to be honest. "Sophia, let me be straight with you. I don't care if you were with Chase." She froze, shocked. "The truth is," I continued, "from the start of our relationship until now, I've never truly been in love with you. There was attraction, maybe even affection from being close for years. But love? No, we were never on the same wavelength." I paused. "Do you remember Gavin Miller?" The name flickered across her face, pulling up a memory she'd rather forget. "In senior year, you stopped being the good girl and started hanging out with him." I knew it, so I changed myself into the kind of guy I thought you'd want, just to force myself into your life. I'm the reason you and Gavin never got together. Honestly, if I hadn't interfered, you two probably would have fallen in love and given my dad a heart attack by now." Before she could respond, I cut her off. "You and I were not the same kind of people. But for many reasons, we got tied up together. I barged into your life and I paid the price. I married you. We had Leo. Now, you've grown up. You run a global company, and you found someone else you're interested in. Why not just end this peacefully?" The words I'd been holding back for years finally poured out. Sophia shook her head desperately and pressed herself against me. "No, that's not true. You love me. You're just saying this to hurt me, right? I don't like Chase. I never liked Gavin. Don't you dare say that. The only person I've ever loved is you, Liam. Please, can we just stop?" As Tiger and his men moved closer, I finally stepped out from the shadows. No words, no warning. I drove my foot straight into Tiger's gut, slamming him against the brick wall. "Boss?" His men shouted in shock. Tiger gasped for air on the ground. "This kid, he's trouble. Get him." The thugs rushed me all at once. What they didn't know was that Mr. Lou had invested in more than my education. I'd been trained in hand-to-hand combat, firearms, even evasive driving. Honestly, I was qualified for the Secret Service. The only reason Sophia was ever allowed her rebellious streak was because he knew I was always there, protecting her. I shoved the girls behind me and met the charge. My strikes were sharp, fast, and brutal. A punch to the jaw, an elbow to the ribs one after another, they crumpled. This time, I didn't hold back. For the first time, Sophia saw who I really was. In less than a minute, it was done. I stood, unscathed, among a pile of groaning gangsters. The girls stared, stunned. Dude, Liam's a beast. That was like a movie. He's insane. One of them. Whispered. Sophia was just as shocked, but her expression shifted into glowing pride. She lifted her chin and told her friends, of course he is. He's my boyfriend. You should all take notes for when you pick yours. She looked like she'd just found a priceless treasure. The incident, of course, reached Mr. Liu. Later, I heard that Tiger and his crew had been taken care of by another group, far more professional than me. I didn't know the details, and honestly, I didn't care. Gavin Miller didn't get away either. Not long after, he was cornered in an alley and had both of his legs broken. He never came back to school. His two friends and their families packed up and left Los Angeles overnight, disappearing completely. If you're going to mess with a billionaire's daughter, you better be ready to face a billionaire's wrath. And then it was my turn too. Face the music, Liam. I have never been more disappointed in you. In the study, I knelt on the floor, shirtless, my back already stinging. Mr. Liu stood over me, his face full of cold fury. This was part of the plan. The reason was simple. While he was gone, I had not only bleached my hair, but I had also been running around with his daughter and a bunch of delinquents. Now that he was back, all the blame was landing squarely on me. Look at you. Your hair, the people you spend time with. I leave for a few months and you think you can turn this house upside down. His voice was low and dangerous. He raised his hand like he was about to strike a gesture we had rehearsed. I gritted my teeth, stayed silent, but made sure to protect Sophia. It was my idea to hang out with them, sir. Maya has nothing to do with it. Punish me. Sophia was just outside the door, listening. Hearing me take the blame, followed by the loud slam of a heavy book hitting the desk to mimic a blow, was too much for her. She burst into the room, tears streaming down her face, and dropped to her knees beside me. Dad, it was my fault. All of it. I was the one who wanted to hang out with them, not Liam. Punish me, not him. Slam. Another book hit the desk. Mr. Liu ignored her. Sophia threw herself over my back, shielding me with her body, sobbing uncontrollably. Dad, I told you it was me. Please, don't hurt Liam anymore. Her makeup was smudged, her whole face a mess of heartbreak. She had no idea she was being played. While she cried, Liu and I exchanged secret glances. This was tough love, eh? Script we had planned to shock her out of her rebellious phase. I had written it 2 months earlier when her bad girl act first started. When I pitched it, Mr. Liu had actually called me a genius. He was desperate and saw this as the only way to pull her back without pushing her away. 2 fake blows in, and she was already shattered. I decided to push it further. I gave Mr. Liu a subtle nod, keep going. He hesitated. The pain in his eyes was real, even though the anger was just an act. The Liu group ran smoothly without her constant oversight, so for a whole week, she and Leo were part of our road trip. That's when Chase made his move. Went online, starting a live stream, accusing Sophia of toying with his emotions. He showed screenshots of private chats and flirty photos from business trips as proof. Sophia panicked. I just smiled. See? There's your evidence. When this is over, let's just divorce. Let's do it with dignity before it has to go too. Court, she tried to defend herself. It was only emotional.
House.
We never slept together. The photos and chats looked bad, but she was right. There was no smoking gun. Still, betrayal is betrayal. But she was Leo's mother, and that mattered. I pointed at one of the photos. Look at the angle. That's a telephoto lens. Someone was following you. Her eyes widened. You mean I was set up? Go investigate. Chase, I told her. And while you're at it, look into Gavin Miller. Then I left her with that thought, climbed into the SUV with Skylar and Maya, and drove off. Sophia had no choice but to return to Los Angeles to manage the PR nightmare. Holding Leo, she watched us leave. What she didn't know was that I already discovered the truth chase had been set up by Gavin Miller as part of a revenge plot. I'd planned to reveal it later, but since they struck first, I gave Sophia a clue. Back in LA, Sophia launched an investigation and quickly confirmed Gavin's role. She held a press conference, admitted to an emotional affair, and begged for forgiveness in public. I still owed her father a debt I could never repay, and deep down, a part of me still saw her as my little sister. Before Mr. Liu could even reach me, I released a statement on Twitter. I explained our marriage was going through a difficult time, which let someone malicious exploit the situation. I said I had forgiven her, apologized to the public for our private issues becoming public. My statement took the wind out of Chase's claims. People looked closer and saw he wasn't a victim. He knew she was married and still went along. When things didn't go his way, he tried to destroy her.